When it comes to tagging our links using UTMs, one of the hardest parts about the whole thing is actually determining what ones to use. What do I put in the UTM source? What do I put in the campaign, the content, the medium, the term, etc.? And so what I've got here is a couple of resources to go through in terms of how to manage the UTM process, especially for the manual side of things, but also how to determine what names to use. What do I put in that source? What do I put in that medium? And so the first thing is I just want to show you just a blog that we've written just to go through some of the concepts. So just looking through here, there's plenty of different resources and ways to manage UTM deployment or creation. First of all, if there is an automatic way of doing it, do it, right? So if you've got auto tagging within Google Ads, that does it for you automatically. If you're using a email platform and there's a button to do UTMs, the same as in Microsoft Ads and a bunch of other ad platforms, 100% just use the automated systems without a doubt. If, though, they don't have an automatic way of doing it, specifically, it's some email platforms, CRMs, social media, for example. Some of those platforms are quite notorious to not do those for you automatically. That's where we can use the manual process. And when we're using a manual process, there's a couple of ways. So, for example, we've built a Google Sheet here that you can copy and use, and just helps you manage your UTM creation and naming convention deployment process. So there's that as a resource. I'll link to that in the description of this video if you would like to check that out. There are a couple of other ways. So first of all, Google has a process of doing this. They built a little tool. You have to do it one by one. It's a bit kind of painful to do lots of them that way, but it is a process for you to do it anyway. And the last thing, and by the way, we're not affiliated with any of this at all, but there is a platform called UTM.io, and it's a website where you can log in and you can set rules and tag and manage your tagging of your UTMs at scale. It's quite nice, the governance. You can actually grant people different access to do different types of tagging. There's even a Chrome extension, so you can just create them on the fly and use shorteners, even your own personal shortener, link shortener as well. So there's a couple of processes, platforms, and stuff and things you can do or use to manage the UTM process. But that's all around creating the links and using UTMs. There's a question of like, what do you put into the UTMs? What do I decide on to put into the UTM medium for my social media activity, or the source for the email activity? What do I use? And I think this is where utilizing Google Analytics' default channel group rules is going to be really helpful. So before I go through any of that, just at the top, it doesn't matter what you put in there. The most important thing is consistency. If you decide to use the medium for something that the source should have been used for, or at least best practice ways, just keep it that way. As long as your implementation of UTMs is consistent, that's the most important thing. You want to be able to measure the same kind of marketing activity over a period of time. That means your UTMs have to be consistent. That said, if you've got the opportunity to define your naming conventions up front before you run certain activity, then why not utilize the guidelines that Google have created? And I think this is the way to think about that. So for example, if I have a look at the default channel groups, there's around 20 of them, so there's an awful lot there. But generally speaking, we can use that to infer or to guide us in what to use in those UTM mediums and sources, etc. So for example, if I have a look here, I can look at the SMS channel. So this is if you're using text message marketing, or if you're sending links out to people via text. And then it's saying here that it's looking for the source or the medium to exactly match SMS. And this is really important because it's not text underscore messaging or SMS underscore message. If we're using that, of course, the UTMs will still work and it'll still be reportable in GA4, but it's not going to get automatically categorized into that SMS channel. And now, if we have the opportunity to define that UTM up front, then let's just use the SMS in this example. And so this will fall into that default channel group automatically. The same thing goes for affiliates. It's looking for the medium equals affiliates, not affiliates, nor AF, nor anything else or any other variation of that. And so when we're using, or when we're defining our UTMs up front, we may as well use this guidelines to infer what we use there. By the way, that Google Sheet that I've referenced, that we've built and we've shared via that blog, that uses all of these definitions and can help manage that process a little bit as well. So you actually choose the channel, not the medium, and then that auto populates for you. So hopefully that's a couple of resources that can be really useful in terms of managing UTMs, but also helping to start that idea or that process of what to use in those UTMs as well. So just to recap, if you've already done it, keep it the same. The most important thing is consistency. The other thing is if it does it for you automatically, or if there's any process or system that can do this for you automatically, absolutely use that. However, if there isn't a process that does it for you automatically and you haven't done this before, then follow these guidelines, have a look at some of these resources that we'll put into the description of this video, and hopefully everything will work perfectly and your data will be categorized in the proper way inside of Google Analytics. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope that's useful, and I'll catch you in the next one.